Alright, today we're going to be working on, I think it's a 2006, what is it, a Porsche Boxster. So, we're going to be working on these wheels because there's a little bit of brake dust here. And pretty much just the exterior. We're going to give it a hand wash, remove all the contaminants, and then we're going to put a layer of carnauba wax, and we're gonna go ahead and buff it out for them too. There's only one thing they want done on the inside, and it's just to get the leather. Everything else is pretty much clean, so we're just gonna be working on the leather. I have a special conditioner that's gonna basically put it back to health, make sure it's nice and moisturized, because you don't want this stuff going dry. That's usually when it tends to crack. So I'm going to go ahead and get to this, and I'll show you kind of a video of the process, and then I'll get back to it. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, so first what we're going to do is rinse down the car. Now what this does is gets off any contaminants that are loose. Because the less you do, the better. When it comes to washing the car, you don't want to use a lot of friction. So you want to first get the contaminants that are loose off, and then the soap is going to help that even further, and it's going to kind of loosen up the rest that's stuck on. And then after that, a soft mitt will basically get the rest of what's stuck on the paint off. That way basically you're doing the least amount of movement to remove the dirt. Okay, so now that we've rinsed it, what we're going to do is the next step, which is to wash it off with soap, car wash soap. Now this soap is formulated to make sure that it doesn't remove any wax that's on the car, because you don't want to ever take off protective layers. So this step is basically just to clean the car completely. And then once it's cleaned, you're going to be able to put on a new layer of wax. All right. So what I'm doing here is, after I wash it, I'll start with one panel and then go to the next. You dip it in the bucket that has fresh water, and what's happening is it's releasing the dirt that the soap and the mitt picked up, and it's falling to the bottom. Then you're reapplying new soap, and you're going through the dips again. Okay, so now that everything's been washed, we're just going to rinse off the remaining dirt, and then it'll be ready to buffer. Okay, so now you're going to see the difference between what it was before and what's after, because brake dust does build up pretty easily, and it's easy to remove if you do it consistently. So what you do is you make sure you rinse it off, and then you go back to the soap water after each step. So that's basically the difference. That's what it should look like. If you're cleaning it, it's going to come off a lot easier, and that's basically what it was like before. Okay, I want to talk about a couple problem areas that are usually looked over when detailing. You want to watch out for emblems. Okay, when you're buffing or applying wax at all, you want to either tape these off or just go around them and then come back and put wax as close as possible without touching it. Anything that's rubber or plastic. This right here, this is rubber. This is plastic. You want to watch out for these as well. And also, when I checked this, whoever had detailed the car before or waxed it, there was a little bit of wax in here and around there. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out. And this isn't usually a problem, it's just more to work with. What you want to worry about is getting wax on plastic or rubber. Because once you do that, the rubber's gonna be kind of discolored. Plastic's not as bad, and this you can get out usually with a soft brush or cloth or Q-tip at best. And then also you're gonna watch these areas too. So you either tape these off or you're very careful when you're waxing. And I don't know if you can see this. This is a clear bra. And these are all around the car, usually on the front bumper, near the wheels in the back. So you want to watch these too, because if you're putting wax, it's going to get in and possibly in the crevice. So you're going to have to get that out. But a better plan is to not get it near it in the first place. But everything has been cleaned so far. So we're going to go ahead and dry it off, and we're actually going to go ahead and apply the wax now. So I'll go ahead and do that. Alright, so we're going to buff out this hood real quick, because obviously the front end is going to get hit with the most bugs and the most friction, people walking by it, all etc. Is front end all the way to the driver's door. So we're going to go ahead and try to clean this up as much as possible, because there are some visible clear coat blemishes. They're not really that bad, but if you kind of look in the sunlight, you'll be able to see them, and they look like a spider web. So we're going to go ahead and use Larry from Ammo NYC's method. He's probably one of the best detailers I've seen on YouTube. And what he likes to do is, he usually does a couple squirts, but he moisturizes the mitt first, and then he applies the product. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just that, and we're going to buff out the hood, and then we're gonna apply the coat of wax. So first I want to show this. The cord, as you're trying to remove scratches, not add them. You want to put it behind you and make sure it doesn't touch the car. And then remember what I said about the emblems, you go around them and as close as possible without touching them. And then at any point, if you feel like it's getting dry, add some quick wax and go back to this spot. You want to keep it to a confined area first before you spread. If you're going to use the rest of the surface, you're going to need to add more polish. And then another thing usually you can do is tape this area off, because product will tend to get in there as you are buffing, whether it's wax or polish. It's going to kind of gather up there because there's a crack and the pressure is basically scraping it off into there. If you don't have a lot of product on, you can get away with it. And it doesn't look like it really went down there. I'm going to keep going. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and add some more. It's always better to have a brush, but if you can take the fibers that are basically laying down and agitate them so that they're sticking up, it's going to do its job a lot better. So see how right there they're kind of flat, and over here as you agitate them they stick back up. And obviously there's not a lot on my hands, so we need to reapply the product. Add a little bit. Dab. Because otherwise it's going to fling everywhere. No way. When it comes to high areas like this, when you're going from here to here, you want to make sure you don't actually hit, because the pressure is going to be a lot more once you change direction. Like this is flat, you want to turn it off so it doesn't fling stuff around, and then go at it. And make sure you're staying away from all these. There's rubber in there in these cracks, and you don't want to get any wax in there, so it's going to show up white and it's going to look sloppy. You're going to have to remove it. It's going to cost you a lot more of your time. any point, if you think it's getting dry, you want to make sure that you re-agitate this. Add quick wax. And go ahead. All right, so the buffing is finished. What we did, we went over all these pieces of plastic and rubber. We reconditioned those as well because they did have a little bit of wax from the detail before. So it does look much better. We did polish the front end. We got a lot of those scratches out. I mean, if I roll it all over the whole car, you can't really see any scratches. And usually they're just so small, it looks like a spider web in the sun, you know, it's scratches that are just microscopic, but we got basically all those out. So now we're gonna work on the inside, and we're gonna go ahead and pull it into the garage to get this leather done. So pull it back in here. All right. And then we're gonna get started on the leather. So the conditioner I'm using is one of my favorites I've ever used. Like I said in the video before this one, it was when I was doing conditioning, another leather conditioning for a Mercedes C63. The leather in there was in good condition, and that's how you want it. You want it to stay in good condition. You don't want to let it go bad and then have to basically repair. You're supposed to maintain it and maintenance it every once in a while. So with this stuff, it really does a great job of actually soaking into the leather. I mean, leather is cow's skin, so you treat it like it's skin. You have to condition it and make sure that it doesn't dry out. This way it bends easily and doesn't crack over time. So it's a good idea to do it basically every detail, and you'll definitely tell a difference between leather that's been conditioned on a regular basis versus leather that hasn't. So here is, I'll show you before and after. Seat over there I didn't do yet, but this one has already been done. So I'm going to take the camera off the stand and show you real quick. Okay, so if you can see, there's kind of suppleness to it. There's a little bit of shine, but it's not shine that's sitting on top of the leather. And then over here, you'll see that this leather isn't very shiny, although it's still in good condition. That's the difference.